Hey y'all, welcome to the Realm of Comics, where we talk everything comics, manga, and graphic novels related. If I'm in the same shirt, it's because I'm boat filming. And listen, I'm actually feeling a little bit better up here. When I did my last video for my other channel, I was, oh my gosh, the congestion and all that. It was completely and utterly disgusting. But I'm glad that I'm not feeling as jacked up. So today we're here to talk about some queer comic and graphic novel recommendations that I'm excited. I have 5 for you today that I am ready to talk about. I know a lot more than this, but I feel like for my recommendations, I want to keep them short and sweet because they can become very, very long and they can be kind of chaotic when it comes to editing and all of that. So I thought, you know, 5 recommendations, it seems to be good. In between 5 to 10, let's put it that way. 5 to 10 seems to be a sweet spot for me whenever I do recommendations. So I don't want to make this video too long, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump in. So the first one that I have on this list is Cheer Up, Love and Pom-Poms, written by Crystal Frazier, and the art was done by Val Wise. So this is a young adult graphic novel that focuses on 2 queer girls as they navigate being on a high school cheerleading team. One of the girls is trans. This I loved because it wasn't as much, and when I was going through and we were looking at like the review process for my job, not the review process, but the reviews, one of the things that I did appreciate after reading that review and then reading it myself was that this is not so much about coming out as it is about the exploration of what it's like to be trans and youth, or trans youth, and how one navigates high school. And I think that definitely with everything that is going on right now in terms of book banning and these anti-LGBT, more specifically anti-trans pieces of legislation that are going in, this book definitely gives a better perspective of what it's like to be young and trans. The artwork is exceptional. It's beautiful. It's bright. It's vivid. I think that there is a sweetness to it that people may not expect. And I'm not like a cheerleader person, but I really did resonate with the ups and downs of being on a cheerleading squad, that whole essence of camaraderie and really supporting people on your team no matter their background. And I think that it is a very well placed, I don't want to say argument, but a very well placed outlook and perspective on what it's like to even be a queer cheerleader. Because I don't know if I've read something that hyper focuses on that. I'm sure I've read YA books where there has been cheerleaders and someone has been queer, but this specifically looks at that intersection of what it's like to be queer and a cheerleader at the same time, especially when there's so many gender-based stereotypes placed on cheerleaders, gender and sexuality stereotypes placed on cheerleaders. And so I loved it. I highly recommend it. It is one that I don't think I've read this one in a while. Great variation in body styles, body types. It was just all around well thought out and well put together. The next one that I have is Snapdragon by Kat Lee. I never know how to say their name. I always feel like I mess it up. Now, I chose to include Snapdragon because I was going to include Thirsty Mermaids, which is another great recommendation. So I am going to recommend that one as well. That does have LGBT themes in it as well. The Snapdragon is such a cute and realistic middle grade graphic novel that focuses on a young girl by the name of Snap that needs a favor from this person that's considered to be the town witch. And their name is Jax. And so Snap begins to work with Jax because they specifically need a favor. And there is some unveiling of connections between Jax and Snap, and it's just beautifully done. I absolutely adored it. Bree and I actually read both. I believe we read Ace as well as, did we read Ace and Snapdragon in the same month? I believe that we read both of those in the same month when we were doing our Realm of Comics discussions last year. So if we did, I will make sure that I include that in the card symbol up above for you to check out. Now, the next one I'm going to recommend is one that I think that a lot of people have already heard about before, but it is one of my favorites, and I recommend it every time I get the chance to recommend it because of the fact that I love that there's this intersection of queerness and blackness and what it means to be both queer and black and how that impacts especially black queer women. And that is Bingo Love. This is by T. Franklin and Jen St. Ong and Joy Son. This is such a beautiful book. It focuses on two black women who grow up together, and there is romantic feelings involved between the two of them, but in the time in which they get to know each other, I think it's like the 60s-ish, and so they weren't allowed to have a relationship with each other. So they follow societal norms, and they both end up marrying men and having children, and it's hard on them because that's not who they are as people. And eventually they come full circle and they find each other again, time and time and time and time again. And we get to see them from the time that they're kids up until the time that they are older. And it was beautifully done. Gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching. The artwork in this one, I love the artwork in this one. This is one that I reread frequently, and I need to reread it again. If you have not read Bingo Love, y'all, I promise you, you are missing out on a hell of an experience. So the next one that I have is one that I had read recently, probably within the last year, and adored it. I adored it. Oh my goodness gracious, I adored it. And it's The Magic Fish. This is by Trung Le Nguyen. And it is their debut graphic novel, which focuses on a young boy who attempts to use fairy tales to explain, or to teach, not explain, to teach his mother English, because English is her second language. She still primarily speaks Vietnamese. And as they're going through and communicating, you learn as a reader that there isn't a direct translation for our character to explain that he is queer. And so he's trying to figure out the dynamics of, like, I want to tell my mother that this is who I am, but there's no direct translation to tell her that I am. They try to use the fairy tales and ways to communicate his experience, and it all comes full circle in such a, oh my gosh, it's so heartwarming how it all comes full circle with the fairy tales, because while you're reading his story, you're still getting insight to these fairy tales that are being told, and they all work together seamlessly and in a very beautiful way for our main character and his mother to make that final connection. Pivotal, beautiful, artwork, completely gorgeous. I love The Magic Fish. It's definitely a great read. If you've never heard of it or you've never had the opportunity to read it, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. The last one that I have on this list is Be Free. This was written by Gabby Rivera and illustrated by Royal Dunlap. And first of all, the artwork in this one, it is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. So this focuses on a young character by the name of BB, and she is living in this world in which the United States doesn't exist, or the globe itself, but especially now the United States, does not exist the way that it used to exist. And it's been 100 years since it originally fell apart. And so she lives in this remote swamp community where she uses her radio to broadcast her radio show. She has an underground radio show. This is one where we see BB kind of rebelling and pushing back against her father and coming to terms with her queerness and her identity and what it means when people want you to be this good girl, this perception of what it means to be a good girl. Y'all, if you've never picked up or if you've never heard of Be Free, like, you are completely and totally missing out. And I need you to pick it up as soon as possible because it is absolutely amazing. Hands down, one of the best comic book series that I have read. I need to do a reread because it's been, I'm looking right now because I have my little list here, but it's been a year or so since I have read Be Free. All right, y'all, so those are 5 comics and graphic novels that have queer themes and or explore queerness with the characters, and I absolutely adore all of them. They are great in terms of art and plotting and storyline. It's just It's amazing. So if you hadn't had the chance to check any of those out, be sure to check them out. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking for ways to follow me on social media, all the links will be down in the description box below, and I will be back with another video soon.